The peace treaty was a lie. Humanity knew it all along. The city of New Chicago was alive with celebration. People crowded the streets, waving small flags and cheering for humanity. News broadcasts filled every home with images of smiling leaders shaking hands with the Zelari diplomats. The so-called peace treaty had been signed, and the humans looked happy. They clapped, cheered, and sang songs of hope. But behind the smiles, the humans knew the truth. The peace treaty was a lie. They had known it for months. No one said it out loud. They did not want panic or fear to spread. The Zelari were clever, very clever. They could hide their plans behind words, gestures, and fake smiles. And yet, humanity had anticipated it. Every move, every trap, every hidden attack, the humans had thought about it all. Caleb Morgan walked through the streets of New Chicago, quietly observing the crowd. He was a tall man, with brown hair and careful eyes. He had been the lead diplomat for this treaty, the person who had negotiated every word with the Zelari. To the public, he smiled and shook hands, presenting himself as a man of peace. Inside, he kept counting every risk. He knew the Zelari would never truly accept peace. They were too proud, too cunning, and too sure of their superiority. Near the edge of the city, Commander Olivia Hart stood on the balcony of the Military Command Center. She wore her uniform with perfect precision, but her face was serious. She watched the human fleets preparing quietly in the hidden docks. Ships of all sizes glimmered under the night lights, ready to move at a moment's notice. Olivia had trained for this. She had studied the Zelari, learned their strategies, and prepared her people. She did not celebrate, she waited. Patience, she knew, was more powerful than anger. Liam Carter, a young intelligence officer, was in a small room filled with glowing screens. He moved quickly, checking every message, every transmission, every signal from the Zelari. There were patterns hidden in the data, small clues that no one else noticed. Liam's eyes widened as he discovered something important. The Zelari had already started moving ships in secret. They were positioning themselves near human colonies, far away from the celebrations. It was subtle, but it was clear. The treaty was just words. The real war had not happened yet, but the Zelari were planning. Caleb joined Liam later that evening in the intelligence room. He leaned over the screens and nodded. "I expected this," Caleb said quietly. "They always prepare for war while pretending to make peace. That is their way." Liam shook his head. "They think we are naive. They think humans will panic when they see their fleets, but they do not know us. They do not understand patience." Outside the city, children ran through the streets with small toys shaped like spaceships. Families waved from balconies and sang songs about a new future. None of them knew about the hidden fleets, the secret plans, or the careful preparation happening behind the scenes. For them, the treaty was real. For the leaders and soldiers, it was a lie they had expected from the beginning. Caleb returned to the main building, where the ceremonial hall had been decorated with lights and banners. The Zelari diplomats were present, smiling and nodding as if everything was perfect. Their skin shimmered slightly under the lights, and their eyes reflected careful calculation. Caleb kept his own smile polite but cold. He could see the pride in their posture, the arrogance in their words. The Zelari ambassador, a tall being with silver skin named Varric, spoke softly. "The humans are clever, but they must accept the rules. The treaty ensures safety for all. Compliance is expected." Caleb nodded. "Yes, safety for all. We agree to every term." On the surface, the humans were obedient. They followed the treaty exactly. Every word, every gesture was precise. But behind the surface, the humans were ready. Ships were being prepared with new weapons, cloaked and hidden. Soldiers trained day and night in secret simulations. Scientists tested new technologies, some of which even the Zelari could not imagine. In one laboratory, Dr. Hannah Ellis examined alien behavior patterns. She had studied the Zelari for years, trying to understand what made them think and act. She pointed to a series of graphs and patterns. "Look here," she said to Liam. "Their movements are too precise to be accidental. Every fleet, every command, every action is calculated. They are planning something big." Liam leaned over the table. "So they are preparing for war even while they smile at us," Hannah nodded. "Exactly. They cannot hide it from us completely, but they think we cannot see the full picture. They underestimate humans." That was a mistake the Zelari had always made. Humans had patience. Humans learned quickly. Humans could wait for years if needed, observing, calculating, and planning the perfect response. For every trap the Zelari set, the humans had already set 5 counters. And they were ready to act when the moment was right. At night, the city of New Chicago glowed with celebration. Fireworks lit the sky, families cheered, children laughed, music played from every corner. But in hidden bunkers, in silent command rooms, and on the decks of invisible ships, humans prepared quietly. Every soldier, every officer, and every scientist knew that the treaty was a lie. Every human knew that the Zelari could strike at any moment. And humanity would be ready. Olivia Hart walked through the fleet docks in the dark, her boots making soft sounds on the metal floors. Ships were lined in rows, some massive and some small. Engineers worked quietly, checking engines, adjusting weapons, and testing cloaking systems. Olivia paused at one of the largest ships, the Liberty. She ran her hand along the hull. "They think we are weak," she whispered. "They do not know what we can do." In another part of the city, Caleb Morgan prepared a speech for the public the next day. He would talk about peace, about hope, about unity. The people needed to believe in the treaty, at least for now. But in private, he sent coded messages to military commanders and intelligence officers, telling them to be ready. Every human involved knew their role. Every human had a plan. As the night deepened, Liam Carter returned to his screens. He ran simulations, testing every possible Zelari attack. He smiled faintly when he saw the results. "We are ready," he said quietly. "No matter what they do, we are ready." Caleb, Olivia, Hannah, and Liam knew something the rest of the galaxy did not. Humanity was underestimated. Other species saw humans as emotional, impulsive, and weak. But humans had survived wars, plagues, disasters, and betrayals. Humans had learned from every failure. And now, in this time of false peace, humans waited patiently, planning the moment when they would show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. At the edge of the city, the Zelari watched too. They believed they were in control. They believed the treaty had succeeded. They smiled and nodded, thinking humans were obedient and fragile. They did not see the hidden fleets, the secret weapons, or the careful plans. They did not know the humans had waited for this moment for generations. And so, the world celebrated peace. Fireworks lit the sky. Children laughed, families hugged, leaders shook hands and smiled for cameras. But in the shadows, in hidden rooms, and in the quiet corners of the galaxy, humanity prepared. The peace treaty was a lie, and humanity knew it all along. When the moment came, the humans would strike with precision, intelligence, and strength. The galaxy would be shocked, not just by their power, but by their patience, courage, and strategy. For now, the celebration continued, but the humans watched, waited, and planned. Every day, every hour, every second counted. And in that quiet, patient preparation, humanity held the true power of the future. Weeks passed after the signing of the treaty, but the celebrations had slowly faded. The streets of New Chicago were quieter now. Life had returned to its normal rhythm, but the leaders, soldiers, and intelligence officers worked harder than ever. Every human who understood the truth knew the Zelari were not peaceful. Liam Carter sat at his console, his fingers moving quickly across the keyboard. He studied the signals coming from the edge of Zelari space. Something was happening. Small movements, tiny adjustments in fleet positions. Nothing big, nothing obvious, but enough to make him uneasy. He tapped a button to run an analysis and stared at the screen. The patterns repeated themselves. a subtle rhythm of preparation that the Zelari hoped humans would not notice. Dr. Hannah Ellis leaned over his shoulder. Her long brown hair fell softly around her face. "They are testing us," she said. "Every shift in position, every change in communication is deliberate. They want to see if we react. They are watching how we respond." Liam nodded. "And we are responding, slowly, carefully, but exactly as we planned. They underestimate patience. That is their mistake." Meanwhile, Commander Olivia Hart was on the docks of the hidden fleet base. The ships were lined in quiet rows, engines humming softly in readiness. Engineers and soldiers moved between them, checking every system, every weapon, every shield. Olivia watched the preparations carefully. Every officer knew the instructions. Every soldier had practiced multiple scenarios. They were ready for any attack, even the ones the Zelari had not yet imagined. "Captain," one of the young officers said, approaching her with a tablet in hand, "we've confirmed new movements near Colony 57. Several Zelari ships are approaching, but they have not fired or announced themselves." Olivia frowned. "Then they are scouting. They want to test us. Keep the sensors active, but do not engage. Let them reveal everything on their own." She turned to the fleet and gave a silent command. The humans waited. Patience, she knew, was more powerful than any weapon. In the human colonies scattered across nearby systems, life went on normally. Families worked in the fields, children ran through playgrounds, and traders moved goods between stations. Most did not know that the Zelari were watching. Most did not know that every friendly gesture and every message could hide danger. But the leaders knew, the scientists knew, the soldiers knew, and that knowledge gave humanity an advantage the Zelari could not see. Ambassador Caleb Morgan was busy in his office, reviewing reports from distant colonies. He spoke with calm authority on every call, smiling politely to the Zelari ambassadors as if all were well. But in private, his voice was firm and direct. "We cannot allow them to test our defenses too close. They need to believe we are compliant, but we cannot give them a true advantage. Prepare the field teams and keep me updated on every movement." He paused for a moment and looked out the window. The city lights of New Chicago twinkled below. People walked home after work, laughing and talking. Some of them still believed in the treaty. They still believed that peace had come. But Caleb knew that the galaxy's future would be decided not in the streets, not in celebrations, but in the hidden rooms, on the quiet decks of human ships, and in the minds of the people who prepared while others slept. At one of the outer colonies, Lieutenant Mason Blake was on duty in a watchtower. He scanned the horizon through the binoculars, noting every ship in orbit. The stars twinkled above, peaceful and calm, but Mason knew better. "They are coming," he said quietly. His assistant, a young woman named Lily Ford, looked at him. "Who?" she asked. "The Zelari," Mason replied. "They are testing us, seeing if we are ready. Don't worry, they will see exactly what humans can do." Far away, in a laboratory orbiting one of the moons near New Chicago, Dr. Hannah Ellis ran simulations. She had studied the Zelari for years, learning their habits, their strategies, their psychology. She entered the latest fleet data into her computer. The simulation ran, showing the movement of Zelari ships and predicting possible attacks. Each scenario confirmed her suspicion. The Zelari were planning and the humans had to respond carefully. She tapped a key and smiled faintly. "They do not understand humans," she whispered. "They think we will panic. They think we will attack too soon or too late, but we know patience. We know strategy. We will not fail." Meanwhile, the Zelari fleets moved closer to human colonies, but they remained careful, hiding behind asteroid belts, using cloaking devices and scanning quietly. They thought humans would notice only at the last moment. They thought humans would be surprised. They had not accounted for the intelligence, planning, and observation humans had invested over the years. Commander Olivia Hart received a report from the outer colonies. Zelari scouts have been detected near colonies 22 and 31, the officer said. They have not engaged, but they are observing. It appears they are searching for weak points. Olivia nodded. Exactly what we expected. Keep tracking them, but do not reveal our positions. Let them show everything. We are learning more with each move they make. That night, Caleb Morgan held a secret council with key military officers and intelligence leaders. They sat around a circular table, maps of space spread before them. Lights reflected off holographic projections of fleets, colonies, and hyperspace routes. The Zelari believe the treaty has made us weak, Caleb said, pointing to the projections. They think we will comply, that we will retreat if they move ships close, but we have studied them. We know their patterns. We know their weaknesses. Patience is our weapon. Observation is our shield, and when the time comes, we will show the galaxy what humans can do. Olivia Hart leaned forward. Our ships are ready. Our soldiers are ready. We have cloaked our fleets and prepared new weapons. They will not see everything until it is too late. We control the timing. Liam Carter added, we are also monitoring communications. Every signal, every coded message, every fleet command is being recorded. We can predict their movements. We can respond faster than they think. Hannah Ellis nodded. And psychologically, we have the advantage. They expect humans to panic. They expect emotion to guide us, but we use intelligence and patience. They cannot understand us completely. The council members shared a quiet agreement. They all knew the risks. They all knew the Zelari were dangerous, but they also knew that humans were stronger than the galaxy gave them credit for. They had survived disasters before. They had turned weakness into strength. And now, in this time of false peace, they were preparing for what was to come. Meanwhile, on a distant planet, Zelari scouts observed human colonies. Their silver skin shimmered under the dim light of distant suns. They recorded every building, every vehicle, every military outpost. They are clever, one scout said. But they will not be ready for everything. Unknown to them, the humans had already anticipated the scouts' movements. Sensors on the colonies recorded the aliens' positions. Every path they took, every signal they sent, was carefully mapped. Humans were not only watching, they were learning, adapting, and planning. Back in New Chicago, Caleb Morgan looked out at the stars from his office. The city was quiet now, the celebrations long over. Families slept peacefully. Children dreamed of a future they could not yet understand. Caleb smiled faintly. They do not know us, he said softly. They will learn soon enough. Olivia Hart walked through the fleet docks late that night. The engineers were finishing their final checks, the soldiers were preparing for any situation, and the ships gleamed under the dim lights. She paused at the largest vessel and ran her hand along the hull. They will not break us, she whispered. They cannot break us. In the intelligence room, Liam Carter monitored signals, his eyes sharp and focused. Each new movement of the Zelari fleets confirmed what he had expected. They were testing, probing, but not attacking. Every move was a lesson, and humanity was learning faster than the Zelari could predict. Hannah Ellis leaned back in her chair, reviewing behavioral simulations. They think we are simple, she said, but we are patient, and patience is stronger than force. We will see everything before they know we know. As the days turned into weeks, the humans continued their careful preparations. Every colony, every ship, every officer was ready. The Zelari moved closer, thinking they had the advantage, but they did not know the humans had already built their own advantage in secret. The treaty may have been a lie, but humans had known it all along. They had watched, studied, and prepared. They had learned the value of patience, the power of observation, and the strength of unity. And when the time came, the humans would show the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. The Zelari believed in their own cleverness. They believed in their power. But humanity had a different power: intelligence, patience, and the ability to turn lies into victory. For now, the galaxy continued in quiet tension. On the surface, peace remained. But in hidden rooms, on silent decks of ships, and in the minds of human leaders, the future was being written. Every calculation, every observation, every secret plan was moving them closer to the moment when the truth would be revealed. Humanity waited. And that waiting made them stronger than any alien could imagine. The days of quiet observation were ending. Humanity had waited patiently, studying every move of the Zelari fleets. They had watched the scouts, recorded every signal, and mapped every pattern. Now the time had come to act, but not recklessly. Humans knew that speed without planning could be fatal. Every step had to be measured, precise, and unexpected. Commander Olivia Hart stood on the bridge of the Liberty, the largest vessel in the hidden fleet. Her brown hair was tied back, and her eyes scanned the holographic map projected above the command console. Stars, colonies, and alien ships glowed in blue and green. Olivia's finger moved over the map. All units, prepare for coordinated maneuvers. Cloaking systems active. Weapons on standby. We move only when I give the command. Her officers nodded. They were calm, confident, and ready. Every human in the fleet had trained for this moment for months. They had studied the Zelari, practiced their strikes, and tested every possible response. They were not just soldiers. They were thinkers, planners, and problem solvers, and the Zelari would not see their strength coming. In the intelligence room, Liam Carter monitored incoming signals. His fingers moved over the console as he decrypted Zelari communications. Every coded message revealed more about the enemy's plans. They are moving ships toward colonies 12, 22, and 31, he said quietly. They still think they are testing us. They do not know that we are ready for anything. Doctor. Hannah Ellis stood beside him, analyzing behavior patterns. They believe compliance means weakness, she said. They think humans will panic or retreat, but patience is our weapon, observation is our strength, and now we are about to show them both. Meanwhile, Ambassador Caleb Morgan maintained the appearance of calm diplomacy. He met with Zelari officials on a remote space station, shaking hands and nodding politely. To the aliens, it seemed as though humans were still obedient, still trusting, and still compliant. But every word he spoke was carefully measured. Every gesture, every smile was part of the deception. The Zelari ambassador, Varric, smiled with pride. You are clever, human, but do not think you can surprise us. We are patient as well. Caleb nodded politely. Of course. We only wish to follow the treaty exactly. Peace is important to everyone. The Zelari believed him. They had no idea that humanity had already prepared hidden fleets near critical points, cloaked and ready to strike. They did not know that every communication, every movement, and every calculation had been anticipated. They did not know that humans had already turned the treaty into a weapon. At Colony 12, Captain Ethan Brooks led a small strike team to set up surveillance and defense systems. He looked out at the horizon, noting the faint silhouettes of Zelari ships far away. They think we are blind, he said to his team. They do not know we can see everything. Every move, every signal, they are showing us their plans without realizing it. His team nodded, setting up cloaked sensors and automated defenses. The humans were careful, precise, and quiet. They did not need to rush. They had time. Every second counted. Back at New Chicago, engineers worked on new weapon systems. Missiles with advanced guidance, energy shields stronger than anything the Zelari had seen, and cloaking devices that made entire fleets invisible to the naked eye. Each innovation was tested repeatedly. Each system was checked and double-checked. Humans did not rely on luck. They relied on intelligence, planning, and preparation. Olivia Hart checked the readiness of her fleet one last time. All ships report readiness, she said. All systems functioning, cloaking active. Weapons calibrated, we move on my command. She looked at the map, then at her officers. Remember, we strike only when necessary. We do not rush. We do not panic. The galaxy will not expect what is coming. As night fell over New Chicago, Caleb Morgan prepared his final diplomatic reports. He would maintain the appearance of calm, obedient compliance while secretly sending encrypted messages to the fleet commanders. Every Zelari move would be countered with precision. Every threat would be met not with fear, but with strategy. The Zelari, meanwhile, were unaware of the human preparations. They continued their own drills, repositioning their fleets and sending scouts closer to human colonies. They believed the humans were still naive, still following orders blindly, still trusting in words instead of observation. They did not realize that humans had already learned every pattern, every tendency, every hidden agenda. On Colony 31, Lieutenant Mason Blake observed from the watchtower as Zelari ships approached. His sensors recorded their every movement. "They are coming closer," he said to his assistant, Lily Ford. "But they do not see us. They think we are waiting, and we are. We have already prepared everything. We will strike at the right moment." The Zelari scouts did not notice the hidden turrets, cloaked ships, or automated defenses waiting for them. They moved confidently, believing the humans would not resist. They did not understand human patience. They did not understand strategy. They underestimated humanity, and that would be their mistake. Back on the Liberty, Olivia Hart issued the first quiet commands. Units Alpha, Beta, and Gamma moved to intercept points. Cloak until visual confirmation. Weapons standby. Observe and report every Zelari movement. The fleet moved silently through space, invisible to the enemy. Sensors detected the approaching Zelari, and every movement was recorded and analyzed. Humans were ready. They did not attack yet. They waited. Patience was the greatest weapon they had. Meanwhile, Dr. Hannah Ellis monitored Zelari communications. She smiled faintly. "They believe they control the situation. They think the treaty has made us weak. But every message, every command, every scout movement tells us their plans, and we will use that knowledge to our advantage." Liam Carter adjusted the fleet simulations. "The Zelari think they are testing us, but we are testing them right back. Every maneuver they make we have already anticipated. They do not know the full extent of our readiness." At Colony 22, Captain Ethan Brooks watched the horizon as Zelari ships moved into position. "They are confident," he said quietly, "but confidence will be their downfall. We know their strengths and their weaknesses. We are prepared for every scenario." Back on the command bridge of the Liberty, Olivia Hart smiled faintly. "They do not know what is coming. We will strike only when they are exposed. And when we do, the galaxy will see the true power of humanity." In the Zelari Command Center, Ambassador Varric observed the movements of his own fleets. "The humans appear calm," he said, "but we must watch closely. They are clever, but we are stronger." He did not realize that the humans had hidden fleets, advanced weapons, and trained soldiers ready for any attack. He did not know that the humans had studied their every move, anticipating their strategy and preparing countermeasures for every action. On Colony 12, Captain Ethan Brooks received an encrypted message from Caleb Morgan. "Do not engage yet. Observe and report. Strike only when necessary." He nodded. "Understood," he said. "We are ready." The human fleets moved quietly, positioning themselves in ways the Zelari could not detect. Sensors were cloaked, weapons were ready, and every officer and soldier knew their role. Humans did not need to rush. They had patience, and patience gave them the advantage. In the intelligence room, Liam Carter monitored the last signals from Zelari scouts. "They are moving into predictable patterns," he said. "We can anticipate their next moves. They are falling into our plan without realizing it." Hannah Ellis leaned back in her chair. "They will not see the strike coming. Every calculation, every observation, every preparation has been made. When we act, it will be decisive." Caleb Morgan maintained his appearance of calm diplomacy. He spoke to Zelari officials. nodding and smiling as if humanity were obedient. But his mind was elsewhere, focused on the hidden fleets, the prepared colonies, and the soldiers waiting for the perfect moment. The Zelari, confident in their plans, continued to move their fleets. They believed they were in control, that the treaty had bound humans to obedience. But humans had already used the treaty to learn, to observe, and to prepare. Night fell across the colonies and the hidden fleet bases. Humans worked quietly, checking systems, running simulations, and rehearsing maneuvers. Every officer, every soldier, every scientist knew the importance of patience. They knew that a single mistake could cost lives, and that a single well-timed move could change the galaxy forever. The Zelari scouts moved closer, unaware of the cloaked ships waiting for them. They did not know the humans had anticipated every approach, every signal, every potential attack. They did not know that humans had turned the treaty into a weapon, using the lie as a way to prepare and study their enemy. Olivia Hart walked across the Bridge of the Liberty, looking at the holographic map. "Prepare to execute final positioning," she said. "We strike only when fully ready. Observation first, engagement second. Remember, patience is the key." Liam Carter nodded, monitoring every movement. "They are predictable. We know their next steps. When we act, it will be perfect." Hannah Ellis added, "Every Zelari thought they were testing humans, but it is we who have tested them. We know their patterns, their strategies, and their weaknesses. The moment to act is near." The galaxy remained quiet on the surface. To the average person, the treaty seemed to be working. Humans appeared calm and obedient. But behind the scenes, fleets waited, colonies prepared, and leaders watched every move. The humans were ready for the Zelari deception. And when the moment came, the galaxy would see the true strength of humanity. Not through blind force or emotion, but through intelligence, patience, and careful planning. The Zelari would learn that underestimating humans was a mistake they would never forget. Humanity was ready. The moment had come. After months of preparation, observation, and careful planning, humanity was ready to act. The Zelari believed the humans were obedient and weak. They thought the treaty had bound them, that humans would comply without resistance. They were wrong. Commander Olivia Hart stood on the Bridge of the Liberty, her eyes scanning the holographic map of the galaxy. Every fleet, every hidden ship, every cloaked vessel was in position. "All units report readiness," she said. "Weapons active, shields active, cloaking systems on. We strike only on my command. Remember, observation first, engagement second." Her officers nodded, tense but calm. They had trained for this moment for months, studied every Zelari maneuver, and anticipated every trap. Patience had been their ally. Now strategy would be their weapon. Liam Carter monitored the incoming Zelari signals. "They are moving closer to human colonies," he said. "They do not know we are already here. Every step they take is predictable. We can respond faster than they can think." "Doctor." Hannah Ellis leaned over his shoulder. "They believe they are testing humans, but it is we who have been testing them. Every move, every signal, every action has taught us something. And now we act." Meanwhile, Ambassador Caleb Morgan maintained his appearance of calm diplomacy. He met Zelari officials on a remote station, nodding politely, smiling, and shaking hands. To the aliens, humans were still obedient. They did not know that hidden fleets were ready to strike, that cloaked ships waited in orbit, and that soldiers were positioned in every critical location. Varric, the Zelari ambassador, looked at Caleb with pride. "You are clever, human, but cleverness alone cannot save you. Our fleets are superior and the treaty ensures your obedience." Caleb's smile was polite. "Of course, we only wish for peace, for compliance, and for safety." The Zelari were blind to what lay beyond their calculations. They had not anticipated the patience of humans, the careful observation, or the hidden preparations. They had underestimated humanity, and that would be their mistake. At Colony 12, Captain Ethan Brooks prepared his team. Automated defenses were in place, cloaked ships were positioned, and sensors had recorded every Zelari movement. "They think they control the situation," he said, "but they are about to find out they do not." In the outer colonies, Lieutenant Mason Blake monitored incoming signals from Zelari fleets. "They are moving into the exact positions we predicted," he said. "They do not know we are ready, and they will be surprised." Olivia Hart gave the quiet command to move the cloaked ships into final positions. The fleet moved silently through space, invisible to Zelari sensors. Every ship, from the smallest scout to the largest vessel, had been prepared for this moment. Every weapon had been tested. Every shield had been reinforced. "Observation complete," Olivia said. "Prepare for engagement. Wait for my command." Hannah Ellis watched Zelari communications, analyzing behavior patterns. "They are confident," she said. "They believe humans will panic or retreat. But humans are patient, humans plan, and humans never underestimate their enemy." Liam Carter checked the simulations one last time. "Every Zelari fleet, every ship, every strategy, we have predicted it all. They do not know what is coming. And when we strike, it will be decisive." At that moment, Zelari scouts approached Colony 22, unaware of cloaked ships nearby. Automated defenses waited silently. Sensors recorded every movement. The Zelari were confident, proud, and completely blind to the humans' preparation. "Captain Brooks," Olivia said through the communication channel, "initiate first strike protocols. Only engage when Zelari are fully exposed. Timing is everything." Ethan nodded. "Understood. All units ready." The first Zelari fleet entered the designated zone. Their ships glinted under the distant stars, unaware of the human fleet hidden in the shadows. Suddenly, automated defenses activated. Energy pulses struck the lead ships, disabling shields and engines. The Zelari scrambled, but it was too late. Every move had been anticipated. On the bridge of the Liberty, Olivia watched the battle unfold. "All units engage strategically. Focus on command hubs first. Avoid unnecessary losses. Precision is key." The humans did not attack blindly. Every strike was calculated. Every ship moved with precision. Every weapon targeted Zelari weak points discovered through months of observation and simulation. Dr. Hannah Ellis monitored the psychological impact. "They believe they controlled the situation," she said. "Now, confusion spreads. Every Zelari ship that fails weakens their morale. They did not expect humans to strike with strategy instead of fear." Liam Carter smiled. "They underestimated patience. They underestimated observation. They underestimated intelligence. Humanity always adapts." At Colony 31, automated defenses disabled several Zelari ships before they could even respond. Hidden human fleets uncloaked, striking key targets. Energy beams cut through Zelari hulls. Missiles hit command vessels. Ships that had thought themselves safe were destroyed with precision. Varric observed the destruction in shock. "How is this possible?" he asked. "They were supposed to comply. They were supposed to obey the treaty." Caleb Morgan's voice came through the communication channel. "The treaty was never about obedience. It was a lesson in patience and observation. Humans learned from your every move, and now we respond." The Zelari scrambled to organize their fleets. They fired blindly, trying to hit human vessels they could not see. Cloaked ships remained invisible, moving with silent precision. Missiles and energy beams destroyed Zelari ships faster than they could react. Every attack was anticipated, every movement countered. "Captain Brooks, focus on command hubs," Olivia Hart ordered. "Do not waste resources on minor vessels. Command is key. Once command is disabled, their fleets will be lost." Ethan nodded. His team followed the instructions perfectly. Human strategy was clear, efficient, and deadly. They did not attack in anger or desperation. They attacked with intelligence, precision, and planning. In the Zelari Command Center, Panic spread. Officers shouted orders, but every command was countered. Humans had anticipated every contingency. Automated defenses, cloaked fleets, and calculated strikes had destroyed the Zelari advantage. Confidence turned to fear. Pride turned to chaos. Hannah Ellis observed the unfolding events. They believed their superiority would last. They thought humans would panic. They were wrong. Humans are patient, adaptable, and strategic. Every plan they made has been countered before it could be executed. Liam Carter monitored Zelari signals in real time. They are trying to regroup, but we already know their strategy. Every move they make, every order they give will be countered. We control this battle. Caleb Morgan continued to speak with Zelari officials. His calm voice contrasted with the chaos unfolding in their fleets. "You believe the treaty made humans weak," he said. "But patience, observation, and preparation are our true strength. You underestimated us, and that is why you are losing." The battle raged across multiple colonies and sectors. Humans struck strategically, disabling Zelari command ships, communication hubs, and supply lines. Every victory was precise, controlled, and efficient. Civilian areas were protected. Human soldiers avoided unnecessary destruction. The Zelari were defeated not by brute force, but by intelligence, patience, and preparation. Commander Olivia Hart watched the final strikes take effect. "All units hold positions. Continue observation. Ensure Zelari command is neutralized." The Zelari were in chaos. Their fleets were scattered, their command disabled, and their strategy rendered useless. They had believed in their superiority, but they had not counted on human patience, intelligence, and planning. In the aftermath, Caleb Morgan addressed the Zelari diplomats. "You believed the treaty gave you control, but it was a test of patience, strategy, and unity. Humanity has proven that we are not to be underestimated. Your deception has failed." The galaxy watched in shock. The Zelari fleets, once thought invincible, were crippled. Command ships were destroyed. Supply lines were broken. And through it all, humans had lost very few ships, avoided civilian casualties, and maintained strategic control. Olivia Hart looked at her officers on the bridge. "We have shown what humans can do," she said quietly. "Not through emotion or panic, but through intelligence, planning, and unity. The Zelari believed in lies, and we turned them into our advantage." Liam Carter smiled. "They underestimated us. Every move they made, every plan they thought was secret, we knew in advance." "That is the power of observation." Hannah Ellis nodded. "And patience. Never underestimate patience. It is stronger than weapons. It is stronger than fear, and it has won this battle for us." Caleb Morgan stood quietly, watching the Zelari diplomats. "The galaxy will remember this," he said. "Humans are not weak. Humans are clever, patient, and capable. The lies of others only reveal our true strength." Across the galaxy, humans celebrated quietly. Ships returned to hidden docks. Colonies were safe. Soldiers, scientists, and leaders had proven their skill, and the Zelari learned a lesson they would never forget. Humanity cannot be deceived, underestimated, or controlled. Humanity had turned a lie into victory. They had observed, waited, and acted with precision. And in doing so, they had shown the galaxy the true meaning of strength: intelligence, patience, unity, and courage. The Zelari fleets retreated in confusion and fear. Their pride was broken. Their strategy had failed. And humanity, calm, prepared, and patient, had emerged victorious. The galaxy would never again underestimate humans. The galaxy had changed. The Zelari, once confident in their superiority, had retreated. Their fleets were scattered, their command destroyed, and their pride shattered. They had thought humans would panic, comply, or fail under pressure. They had been wrong. Commander Olivia Hart stood on the bridge of the Liberty, looking at the reports. Every fleet, every colony, every hidden human force had followed the plan perfectly. Cloaked ships had struck at the right moment. Automated defenses had neutralized Zelari scouts, and precise strikes had disabled command centers. No human had been careless. No plan had failed. Humanity had won without unnecessary loss. Olivia turned to her officers. "We have shown them what humans can do," she said quietly. "Not through anger, not through desperation, but through patience, intelligence, and preparation. This is the power the galaxy has always underestimated." Lieutenant Mason Blake, monitoring one of the outer colonies, smiled. "They will never forget this," he said. "Every Zelari fleet, every officer, every citizen in their empire now knows humans are not to be taken lightly." In the intelligence room, Liam Carter reviewed Zelari signals that were still coming in. Even in retreat, they sent frantic orders, trying to regroup and repair the damage. But every signal was intercepted, every movement anticipated. The humans had turned every trick, every plan, every deception back on the Zelari. Dr. Hannah Ellis watched quietly, her hands folded in her lap. "They believed that words could bind humans," she said. "They believed that treaties made us weak. But patience and intelligence cannot be ignored. They have learned that the hard way." Far away, Ambassador Caleb Morgan met with the remaining Zelari officials on a neutral station. The diplomats were silent, their expressions heavy. They had come expecting obedience, submission, and compliance. Instead, they were faced with calm humans who had outsmarted them at every turn. Caleb spoke slowly, his voice steady and calm. "You believed that the treaty would give you control, but it did not. Every move you made, every plan you thought was secret, we had anticipated. You underestimated humanity, and that is why your fleets have failed." Varric, the Zelari ambassador, bowed slightly, a sign of respect even in defeat. "You are clever, human. We did not expect this." Caleb nodded. "It is not cleverness alone. It is patience, observation, and preparation. You cannot deceive humans as easily as you thought. That is the true strength of our species." Across the galaxy, humans quietly secured their positions. Colonies were reinforced, fleets returned to hidden docks, and every system was checked for any remaining Zelari presence. The victories were precise, controlled, and without unnecessary destruction. Humanity had struck with intelligence, not anger. They had defended themselves without chaos. At Colony 12, Captain Ethan Brooks oversaw the return of his team. Automated defenses were deactivated, cloaked ships returned to orbit, and the soldiers were ready for debriefing. "We did exactly what we trained for," he said. "Every move, every strike, every calculation worked perfectly." Lieutenant Lily Ford smiled at him. "And the Zelari will think twice before underestimating humans again." Back on the Liberty, Olivia Hart allowed herself a small moment of relief. She had led the fleets through months of planning and patient waiting, and now it had paid off. The Zelari had been beaten not through sheer firepower, but through strategy, intelligence, and calm precision. Humanity had turned deception into victory. In the intelligence room, Liam Carter tapped a key on his console. Reports confirmed that Zelari fleets were in full retreat. Communications were scattered. Supply lines were broken. Their remaining forces were confused and disorganized. "They are beaten," he said quietly. "But not by luck, by preparation, observation, and strategy." Hannah Ellis nodded. "And they will remember. They will remember that humans are patient, clever, and capable of turning lies into victories. They will respect us from now on." Meanwhile, Caleb Morgan returned to New Chicago, where celebrations were cautiously beginning again. This time, the celebrations were quiet, thoughtful, and measured. People cheered not only for peace, but for the realization that humanity had survived, prepared, and triumphed without unnecessary risk. Caleb walked through the streets, observing families, children, and workers. Everyone had been protected, thanks to careful planning and precise action. Humanity had demonstrated that strength did not come only from weapons, but from intelligence, patience, and unity. He paused for a moment and watched a group of children playing with toy spaceships. They had no idea of the battles that had been fought in silence, the fleets that had moved unseen, or the careful strategies that had saved billions of lives. But in their laughter, Caleb saw the future. The next generation would grow knowing that humans could face any challenge, overcome any deception, and protect their world with courage and wisdom. At the hidden fleet base, Olivia Hart stood quietly on the deck of the Liberty. She looked up at the stars, reflecting on the months of preparation, observation, and strategy. They thought they had control, she whispered, but we had patience, we had intelligence, and we had unity. That is what makes humans strong. Ethan Brooks, standing nearby, nodded. They will not make the same mistake again. They will never underestimate us. Even in distant colonies, soldiers and officers felt the quiet pride of victory. Automated systems were checked, fleets were reinforced, and the galaxy slowly began to realize the truth. Humanity was not to be underestimated. The Zelari, scattered and retreating, communicated among themselves in disbelief. They had thought they were superior, cleverer, and stronger, but every move had been anticipated. Every strategy had been countered. Their arrogance had been their downfall. Varric, in a final communication with Caleb Morgan, spoke quietly. "We underestimated you. Humanity, we respect your patience, intelligence, and strategy. We will not make this mistake again." Caleb smiled faintly. "That is enough," he said. "Now the galaxy knows. Humans are patient, clever, and capable of turning deception into victory. That is the true strength of our species." Across the galaxy, humans quietly secured control over key positions. Colonies were reinforced, hidden fleets remained ready, and observation continued. Humanity had shown the galaxy that strength was more than weapons. It was strategy, planning, and unity. In New Chicago, families celebrated safely. Children played. Streets were filled with laughter. For the first time in months, people felt the relief of knowing their world was secure. But beyond the city, in hidden rooms and on fleet decks, humanity continued to watch, learn, and prepare. Caleb Morgan, Olivia Hart, Liam Carter, and Hannah Ellis gathered quietly on the Liberty. They looked at the reports, the maps, and the status updates. Every system was stable. Every fleet was in position. Every colony was secure. Humanity had won, not by chance but by careful planning and intelligence. "We have proven ourselves," Olivia said, "not only to the Zelari but to the galaxy. They will not forget what we have done." Liam Carter added, "And they will not underestimate us again. Every move they make in the future will be cautious because they know what humans are capable of." Hannah Ellis nodded. "Patience and observation were our greatest weapons. Intelligence was our shield, and unity was our strength. That is what made this victory possible." Caleb Morgan looked out at the stars, quietly proud. "The galaxy has learned the truth. Humans are not weak. Humans are not naive. We are clever, patient, and capable, and now the galaxy will respect that." As the stars shone above New Chicago and across human colonies, the people celebrated quietly. They had been safe. They had survived, and they had triumphed. The Zelari, once arrogant and proud, had been defeated not by force alone but by strategy, intelligence, and patience. They had learned that humans were a species that could not be deceived, underestimated, or controlled. Humanity had turned lies into advantage, observation into power, and patience into victory. And the galaxy would remember. From hidden fleets to distant colonies, from quiet laboratories to command bridges, humans had acted with precision, intelligence, and courage. The galaxy had witnessed the strength of humanity, not in fear, not in emotion, but in calm, measured, and brilliant strategy. The treaty had been a lie. The Zelari had believed it would bind humans, but humanity had known all along, and in knowing they had turned deception into triumph. And the galaxy, at last, truly understood the meaning of human strength. Humanity was not just strong. Humanity was clever. Humanity was patient. Humanity was unstoppable. The stars, once a silent witness to deception, now reflected human victory. The galaxy would never again underestimate humanity.